My name is Caroline Harris. I'm 38 years old, and I live in Dallas, Texas. For 15 years, I thought I had a stable marriage, a home, a future. But all of that came crashing down one night, faster than a lightning strike. It started with a text message I wasn't supposed to see. Can't wait to start our new life with you. He doesn't deserve the winnings. My heart froze. The message was on my husband's phone, glowing on the nightstand while he showered. Winnings? New life? I stared at the screen, my breath caught in my throat, my hands trembling so hard I nearly dropped the phone. When he came out, towel wrapped around his waist, I shoved the phone at him. What the hell is this, Adam? His eyes widened for a split second, then hardened. Don't go through my stuff, Caroline. That's all he said. No denial. No explanation. That's the night I found out my husband, the man I cooked for, the man I supported through every failed business idea, had just won $12 million in the Texas lottery and planned to leave me for a woman half my age. If you're watching this, tell me in the comments what would you have done if you found out your spouse was hiding millions from you. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe because this story, it only gets darker. I sat on the edge of the bed that night, shaking. My life suddenly felt like a bad TV drama. He hadn't even told me he was playing the lottery. He hadn't shared the excitement, the possibility, the dream. Instead, he was secretly planning his escape, cash in hand, and worse, the text proved he wasn't just leaving me. He was already emotionally gone, maybe even physically. I thought back to all the late nights at his office, the unexplained trips, the way he flinched when I asked about our finances. It all made sense now. When I demanded answers, he smirked. Actually smirked. It's my ticket, my money, and you're not entitled to a dime, Caroline. Not a single dime. That smirk broke something in me. 15 years of loyalty shattered in seconds. But what Adam didn't know was that his own family had drafted a prenup before our marriage. A prenup designed to protect them, their son, their assets, their reputation. He thought it was his shield. He had no idea it would become my sword, because if there's one thing you should never do, it's underestimate a woman who has been betrayed. And that night, I vowed I would not just survive. I would take what I was owed, and I would make him regret the day he ever crossed me. But before I could strike back, I had to learn the full truth, and what I discovered next left me more devastated than the betrayal itself, because the woman my husband planned to leave me for, she wasn't just some stranger. She was someone I knew. Someone far too close to home. I didn't sleep that night. My chest felt tight, like someone was pressing a brick against me. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every look, every moment of the last year. By morning, I needed answers. I needed to know who she was. So when Adam left for work at M, I followed him. I never thought I'd be the type of wife to trail her husband like a private detective, but betrayal changes you. It makes you desperate. He drove across town, not to his office but to a small cafe near Lakewood. I parked to car's back, heart pounding so hard I thought it would shake the steering wheel, and then I saw her, long blonde hair, designer heels, smiling like she had already won. She leaned across the table, touched his hand like she owned it, and when she turned her head, my stomach twisted so violently I nearly threw up, because it wasn't a stranger. It was Megan Turner, my cousin, my blood, the same cousin who used to spend summers with me when we were kids, the same cousin I helped move to Dallas 3 years ago. When she claimed she needed a fresh start, the cousin I had introduced to my husband at a barbecue, I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Tears blurred my vision, but anger kept me rooted there, watching as the man I'd loved for 15 years whispered into the ear of the woman I once called family. I wanted to storm in, flip the table, and scream, but I didn't. I forced myself to stay calm, to stay hidden, because if I'd learned one thing overnight, it was this. Adam thought he had the upper hand. Megan thought she was clever, but I had patience, and patience is a weapon. That afternoon, I went home before Adam returned. I pulled out our safe box, digging through documents until I found the prenup. The prenup his family insisted on when we got married. At 23, I had been young, naive, and too in love to fight. His father, a real estate mogul, said it was just a formality. Back then, I signed without a second thought, but reading it now, my heart started to race. The agreement was strict. Any infidelity, any breach of trust, would void Adam's protections and entitle me to a significant share of assets. They had written it to protect their family empire. They never imagined I'd be the one they were protecting from him. For the first time since last night, I smiled. A small, broken smile. He thought he could leave me with nothing. He thought he could vanish with his millions and his mistress. But Adam didn't know what I was capable of, and neither did Megan, because the next step wasn't just about the prenup, it was about playing the long game, gathering proof and letting them both dig their own graves, while I waited to strike. For the next week, I lived two lives. By day, I played the dutiful wife. I smiled, I cooked dinner, I asked Adam about his work like nothing had changed. He thought I was clueless. He thought I was still the naive girl who signed that prenup 15 years ago. By night, I became something else entirely. A strategist, a hunter. I started keeping a journal, dates, times, places. Every excuse he gave me, every late night, every business trip. I saved screenshots of text messages when he carelessly left his phone unattended. I even drove to that same cafe twice more, snapping photos of him and Megan together. Each entry in my journal felt like a brick, building the foundation of my case. And every brick brought me closer to the day I would crush him with the weight of his own lies. One evening, while Adam showered, I slipped into his briefcase. That's when I found the bank receipts, lottery winnings being moved, transfers into accounts I'd never heard of, offshore accounts even. He wasn't just cheating, he was plotting to erase me. Think you're clever, Adam? I whispered, staring at the papers. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I started meeting secretly with an attorney, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Laura Jennings. She specialized in high-asset divorces, and when I laid everything out, the texts, the photos, the prenup, her eyes gleamed. Caroline, if this goes to court, you could walk away with half. Maybe more, half. That meant $6 million. More money than I'd ever dreamed of having, but the money wasn't what fueled me. What fueled me was the look on Adam's face when I'd eventually tell him, "You thought you buried me, but I buried you instead." Laura gave me one piece of advice: patience. Don't confront him yet. Let him believe he's safe. The more evidence you gather, the stronger your case. So that's what I did. I let Adam kiss me goodnight with lips that reeked of betrayal. I let him walk out the door in the mornings with cologne I knew wasn't for me, and every time I looked at him, I reminded myself, "You're already mine, Adam. You just don't know it yet." But revenge has a way of twisting everything, even your own soul. And the deeper I dug, the darker the secrets I uncovered became, because it turned out Adam wasn't just hiding Megan. He was hiding something even bigger, and when I found out the secret he had been keeping from both of us, it nearly destroyed me before I could destroy him. I thought I was prepared for anything. Cheating? I could handle that. Financial betrayal? I had proof. But nothing could have braced me for what I discovered next. It was late on a Thursday night. Adam had fallen asleep on the couch, TV still playing. His phone buzzed, and for once, he didn't wake up. My hands shook as I picked it up. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The text read, "She doesn't know about the account in Megan's name, right? Once the money clears, you'll both be safe." Safe? Account in Megan's name? My stomach dropped. I opened the banking app, praying he hadn't changed his password. He hadn't, and there it was, a brand new account. Not in Adam's name, not in mine, but in Megan Turner's. He wasn't just planning to leave me. He was funneling millions into her account, making her his partner, his equal, and here's the part that broke me most: he was willing to trust her with everything he never trusted me with. I sat there in the dark, staring at the glowing screen, tears streaming silently down my face. 15 years. 15 years of building him up, of scraping by while he chased failed investments, of swallowing my pride when his family looked at me like I was beneath him. And now, he was transferring everything I had fought for into the hands of my own blood. But the tears didn't last long. They burned into anger. Then the anger cooled into clarity, because this wasn't just betrayal. This was greed. And greed makes people sloppy. The prenup suddenly became more than a safety net, it became a weapon. A way to turn his arrogance against him. All I had to do was prove the affair beyond question and show his financial misdeeds. His own family's lawyers had given me the blueprint for his downfall. I quietly forwarded screenshots of every transaction to my private email. Then I closed the phone and set it back on the coffee table. Adam snored softly, unaware. Megan probably thought she was building a future. Adam thought he was building an escape, but I was building a case. That night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, I realized something chilling. Megan wasn't just his mistress. She was his accomplice. She was helping him bury me alive, and if they thought I was going to let them get away with it, they had no idea who I was becoming, because the next move I made turned the tables and forced Megan to show her true colors in a way Adam never saw coming. The next morning, I woke up with a new purpose. For days, I had been gathering evidence quietly, secretly, almost timidly. But now I was ready to test just how far Megan was willing to go. I texted her, yes, her.me. Hey, Megan, haven't seen you in a while. Want to grab lunch this week? My finger hovered before hitting send, my pulse racing. Would she suspect I knew? Would she run straight to Adam? But just 2 minutes later, her reply came, Megan, of course. I'd love that, smiley face and all. When we met at a chic little bistro downtown, I forced myself to smile like nothing was wrong. Megan looked perfect, as always, hair blown out, nails freshly done, wearing a designer purse I knew she couldn't afford on her own. Unless Adam's gifts had started flowing already. We ordered salads. I stirred mine without eating. Then I leaned in. So, how are things? Anyone special in your life these days? She blinked, caught off guard, then gave a sly little smile. Maybe. Nothing serious yet. I almost laughed. Nothing serious? She was plotting to run away with my husband and millions of dollars. And she sat there lying to my face like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. That lunch was torture. But it also confirmed something I needed. Megan wasn't just a fling. She wanted my life, my house, my husband, my security. And she wasn't about to walk away willingly. Later that night, I told my lawyer, Laura, everything. She leaned back in her chair, tapping her pen. Caroline, if she's accepting financial transfers, if Adam is funneling winnings into her account, that could constitute fraud. And if she lies under oath, that's perjury, fraud. Perjury, words that tasted like justice on my tongue. I started feeding Megan small tests, asking about Adam's late nights at work, pretending I was suspicious but clueless. And every time, she lied straight to my face. Good. The lies would bury her later, but Adam was becoming bolder, more reckless. He'd disappear for entire weekends, claiming networking trips. He left receipts in his pockets from expensive hotels. He didn't even try to cover his tracks anymore. Part of me wondered, was he daring me to find out? Or was he so sure of himself that he thought I wouldn't fight back? Either way, I stayed silent. I smiled. I played the role of the blind wife, because while they were planning their future, I was already writing their ending. And just when I thought I had them cornered, I uncovered one more betrayal, one that cut so deep. It turned my revenge into something much more personal. I thought I had already seen the worst. A cheating husband, a cousin who betrayed me, millions being stolen from under my nose. But betrayal has layers, and I hadn't reached the deepest cut yet. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. I was in the garage, sorting through old boxes, when I stumbled across one of Adam's storage bins. Inside were files, contracts, and what caught my eye, an envelope marked with my name. Curiosity burned through me. I tore it open. Inside were divorce papers, already drafted, already signed by Adam, and stapled to the back. A statement, a sworn affidavit, signed by Megan. It claimed I was mentally unstable, that I had violent outbursts, that I had threatened her, and even Adam. My knees buckled. I sat on the concrete floor, the papers shaking in my hands. She hadn't just stolen my husband. She was trying to paint me as crazy, dangerous. It was a knife in my back, and Adam was holding it steady while Megan twisted it. That night, when Adam came home, I asked casually, "So, how was your day?" He shrugged, kissed my cheek, and mumbled something about meetings, while he had divorce papers waiting, signed, sealed, ready to throw me to the wolves. For the first time, rage burned hotter than heartbreak. I called Laura the next morning, my voice shaking. "They're setting me up. They're trying to take everything." She stayed calm. "Caroline, listen to me. This is exactly why you can't react emotionally. If you explode, if you give them any excuse, they'll use it against you. But if you stay quiet, we'll use this against them. Do you understand?" I did, and I hated it. Every fiber of my being wanted to storm into Megan's apartment, tear her smug little lies to shreds, and scream the truth in her face. But I didn't. I swallowed my pride. I smiled in public. I played my role, because now I wasn't just fighting for revenge. I was fighting for survival. They wanted to paint me as unstable. Fine, I'd be calm. They wanted to claim I was violent. I'd be gentle. They wanted to silence me. I'd speak only in evidence. I was no longer the woman Adam thought he married. I was something stronger, smarter, colder, and while they sharpened their knives in the dark, I was quietly forging my sword. But then, an unexpected ally stepped into my life and gave me the final piece of the puzzle I needed to bring them both down. Sometimes help comes from the unlikeliest places. For me, it came from Adam's own family. One evening, I got a call from his younger sister, Rachel. We'd never been close. She always saw me as the outsider, the gold digger who wasn't good enough for her brother. So when she asked to meet for coffee, I almost said no, but curiosity won. When we sat down at a quiet cafe, Rachel didn't waste time. She leaned across the table, voice low. "Caroline, I know what Adam's doing, and I don't agree with it." I froze. My throat tightened. "What do you mean?" Her eyes flickered with guilt. "He told our parents you're unstable, that you're going to ruin his reputation if he leaves you. He's already set things in motion to have you cut out completely." My blood boiled. So the lies weren't just in a folder, they were spreading, poisoning everyone around me. But then Rachel slid an envelope across the table. "I found this in his office at Dad's firm. You need to see it." Inside were copies of wire transfers, large ones straight into Megan's account. Not from Adam personally, but from shell companies under his father's umbrella. I stared, stunned. This wasn't just Adam being reckless. This was orchestrated, covered up, dirty. Rachel's voice softened. "Caroline, I don't like you." I never did, but I don't like being lied to either. "And Megan? She's laughing at all of us. My brother's an idiot. I don't want her winning." For a moment, I didn't know whether to hug her or slap her. But I knew one thing. This was the piece I needed. Concrete proof, not just of infidelity, but of financial fraud. Fraud that tied Adam, Megan, and even his family's company together. When I handed the documents to Laura later that week, she whistled. "Caroline, this isn't just a divorce anymore. This is criminal. With this, we don't just win, you bury him." The idea sent shivers down my spine. I had gone from betrayed wife to strategist, from victim to hunter. And now, with Rachel's unexpected help, I had everything I needed to drag Adam and Megan into the light. But as Laura warned me, the more cornered a man like Adam feels, the more dangerous he becomes. She was right. Because the moment Adam realized I wasn't broken, that I was fighting back, he made a move so reckless, so desperate, it almost blew everything apart. And his next move? It wasn't just betrayal. It was war. Adam must have sensed something had shifted. Maybe I smiled too easily at dinner. Maybe he noticed the way I didn't flinch when he lied anymore. Or maybe Rachel had tipped him off without realizing, because one night, he came home furious. He slammed the front door, stormed into the kitchen, and threw a folder down on the counter. "You think you're clever, Caroline? Spying on me? Digging around in my business?" My heart pounded, but I didn't blink. "What business, Adam? The business of cheating on your wife with my cousin? Or the business of hiding $12 million? His face twisted with rage. He grabbed the folder, pulled out the papers I hadn't even seen before, and shoved them in my face. It was a restraining order request. Against me. Filed that very day, he sneered. "You've been unstable for years. Everyone knows it. Soon, you'll be out of this house, out of my life, and I won't owe you a damn cent." For a moment, fear nearly paralyzed me. The audacity, the cruelty. He was trying to erase me not just from his life, but from the truth itself. But then something strange happened. I smiled because Adam didn't know I already had everything I needed. The photos, the texts, the prenup. And now, thanks to Rachel, the transfers. If he wanted war, he was already standing on the battlefield unarmed. I leaned closer, my voice calm. "Adam, do you remember the prenup your daddy drafted? The one I signed because I trusted you." His smirk faltered. "Just for a second, let me refresh your memory," I continued. "Infidelity voids it. Financial misconduct voids it. Fraud voids it. And guess what? You've done all three." The color drained from his face. He hadn't expected me to fight back. That night, he stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame cracked. I sat alone in the kitchen, shaking but stronger than ever. For the first time, the power was shifting, but I also knew this. Desperate men do desperate things. And Adam wasn't going to walk away quietly, because the very next day, Megan made her own move, and it was even dirtier than Adam's. I thought I knew Megan. I thought I knew betrayal. But she proved me wrong. The call came at M, just as I was about to leave for a meeting with Laura. Her voice was sharp, almost mocking. "Caroline, you think you're clever, don't you?" My stomach twisted. "What do you want, Megan?" "To warn you, Adam's not the man you think he is. But you." Her laugh cut through the phone like a knife. "You're about to lose everything if you push him too far." I laughed too, softly, bitterly. "Oh, Megan, I've already won. You just don't know it yet." Her laugh faltered. "You're bluffing." I hung up, my mind racing. This wasn't just arrogance. It was fear. She knew I had proof. She knew her perfect plan was crumbling. By noon, I got a text from Rachel. "She's talking to Dad, trying to cover her tracks. Be ready." I knew what that meant. Megan was scrambling, trying to manipulate Adam's family to protect herself. But the truth is a heavy hammer. No amount of pleading could hold it off. Laura and I worked feverishly. Every email, every transfer, every like cataloged, organized, bulletproof. The moment this went to court, there would be no escape for either of them. Then, just when I thought I was prepared, Megan made her boldest move yet. She called my house. Not a text. Not an email. A call. "I want a truce," she said, voice silky. "We can split him. You get your part, I get mine. No lawsuits. No drama." Her audacity stunned me. She actually thought I would negotiate. I smiled softly, quietly. "Megan, I think you misunderstand. I don't negotiate. I win." Her voice faltered for the first time. "What? What do you mean? You and Adam thought you could steal from me. You thought I'd cry. You thought I'd run. But I have proof. I have the prenup. I have the transfers. And when this is over, I'll have everything. Everything you tried to take. And then, you'll regret ever crossing me." She hung up, and I felt a rush of triumph so sweet it almost made me dizzy. I realized something important in that moment. Revenge isn't about anger. It's about precision. It's about patience. It's about letting the people who think they're untouchable dig their own graves while you hold the blueprint, and the court date loomed closer. Like a storm I had been waiting for my entire life, because the day we went to court, everything Adam and Megan thought they had planned came crashing down, and the payoff was sweeter than I ever imagined. The courthouse smelled like polished wood and tension. I felt every eye on me as I walked in, holding my head high. Adam's face turned pale the moment he saw me. Megan clutched his arm, trying to look confident, but her nails dug into his sleeve, a silent betrayal that even she couldn't hide. I took my seat. Laura whispered, "Today, Caroline, they pay for everything." I nodded. The words felt heavy with truth. When the judge entered, silence fell. The hearing began. Adam's lawyer tried to speak first, painting me as unstable and unreasonable. Megan's lawyer jumped in, calling me vindictive and unhinged. I let them talk. Let them waste their breath. Then Laura stood. "Your Honor, the defendant's claims are false. Here is proof of infidelity, financial misconduct, and fraud." She handed over the documents Rachel had given me. The photos of Adam and Megan, the bank transfers, the text messages, and the prenup. The courtroom went silent. Adam's jaw tightened. Megan's lips pressed into a thin line. Laura's voice rang clear. "This is not only a breach of marital trust, it is a violation of law and ethics. The plaintiff, Caroline Harris, is entitled to full compensation as outlined in the prenup, including additional damages due to deliberate fraud." I watched as Adam and Megan's faces paled. The man who had planned to humiliate me and erase me from his life now realized he had already lost everything. The judge leaned forward. "Based on the evidence presented, the court rules in favor of the plaintiff. Caroline Harris will receive her full share, including half of the lottery winnings, all assets in her name, and additional damages due to misconduct by the defendants." Time slowed. My heart raced. I could see Adam's disbelief, Megan's panic, and the realization on their faces that their greed had been their downfall. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just smiled. Calm, quiet, victorious. As we left the courthouse, I felt a strange mix of relief and triumph. The betrayal, the humiliation, the years of pain, it was all accounted for now. I hadn't just reclaimed what was mine. I had proven something more. That patience, planning, and self-respect can turn even the deepest betrayal into victory. That night, I sat on my balcony, staring at the city lights of Dallas. I thought about the journey, the heartbreak, the anger, the fear, and realized that revenge isn't about cruelty. It's about justice. I picked up my phone and texted Rachel. "We did it," she replied with a smiley face. I laughed softly, and I knew, deep down, this wasn't just about Adam and Megan. It was about me, about the woman I had become. Life can throw unimaginable betrayals your way, but strength comes from strategy, patience, and believing in your own worth. Never let anyone steal your life or your dignity. If this happened to you, what would you have done? Could you have fought back like I did, or would you have walked away? Comment below and share your thoughts. After the courtroom battle, most people expected me to crumble, to feel hollow where betrayal had once carved its mark. But I didn't. I felt alive, stronger, sharper, like every piece of my broken past had been reforged into something unbreakable. The first thing I did was reclaim my home. Walking through each room, I touched the walls, the furniture, the kitchen counter I had once scrubbed late at night while Adam ignored me. This was my space again. No deceit, no lies, no stolen money. I started slowly, focusing on myself. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected, traveled to places I had only dreamed of visiting, and finally opened the small boutique I had wanted for years. It wasn't just about money or revenge anymore, it was about rebuilding my identity on my terms, but the emotional scars didn't vanish overnight. Every time I thought of Adam or Megan, I felt a spark of anger, a reminder that betrayal leaves a mark deeper than words. I journaled, writing letters I never sent, venting every ounce of pain, humiliation, and fury. Through it all, I realized the power wasn't in taking their money. It was in taking back my life. The prenup and the legal victory were tools, but freedom was the real reward, and there was one more lesson I carried with me. Sometimes, your allies come from the most unexpected places. Rachel's help had been invaluable, but it also taught me about forgiveness, trust, and choosing wisely who you let into your life. I still saw Adam's face in my mind sometimes. That smug arrogance, that disbelief as he realized he had lost. But instead of wishing him pain, I felt something lighter: closure. Finally, I could move forward without fear, without rage controlling me. Even the thought of Megan no longer made me anxious. She had played her hand, and the consequences had been delivered. Watching her scramble and fail was proof that karma has its own timing. I understood something vital in that moment. Revenge is not about being cruel. It's about reclaiming what's yours and letting justice unfold naturally. But just when I thought my life was finally mine, an unexpected message arrived, and it reminded me that even victory comes with surprises. Life had started to feel normal again. My boutique was thriving. Rachel and I had grown closer than ever, and I finally allowed myself to dream again freely, without fear. Then my phone buzzed one evening with a message that made my blood run cold. Unknown number. You think it's over? Think again. I froze. My first thought was Adam, but no, he was grounded. He couldn't do anything now that the court had ruled. Megan? She couldn't even look me in the eye after everything that had happened. I stared at the message for what felt like an eternity. My hand shook as I typed back, "Who is this? What do you want?" No reply. For days, the messages kept coming, cryptic, threatening, a reminder that even when you win, shadows linger. It was a test of nerves, a reminder that betrayal leaves a footprint even after the storm passes. Instead of panic, I felt resolve. I had survived Adam's lies, Megan's deceit, and the weight of betrayal from the person I trusted most. I wasn't about to let some unknown coward shake my life now. I called Laura. She assured me it was likely someone trying to intimidate me, maybe Adam's remaining contacts, maybe Megan's family. "The law is on your side," she said. "Collect everything. Ignore the theatrics. You're untouchable if you stay calm and strategic." That night, I sat on the balcony, the city lights reflecting in my eyes. I thought about all the twists, all the pain, and every lesson I had learned. Patience is power. Knowledge is power. Strength comes from surviving what others think will destroy you. And slowly, I realized this. The victory wasn't just legal. It was emotional, mental, and spiritual. The unknown messages were just echoes of the past. They had no claim on my future. I deleted the number. No threats, no fear. Just me and the life I was finally building. Because even after winning, there's one final confrontation I had to face to truly close this chapter of my life once and for all. The last piece of my journey wasn't in the courtroom. It wasn't in the financial victories or the legal documents. It was facing Adam and Megan one final time, standing tall, unbroken, and fully in control. I arranged a meeting at a neutral cafe. No lawyers, no witnesses, just me, Adam, and Megan. They thought they were meeting to intimidate me, maybe negotiate, maybe threaten. What they didn't realize was that I was no longer the woman they had once controlled. Adam's face paled the moment I walked in. Megan tried to smile, but it was weak, forced. I sat down, calm, poised, and let the silence stretch. Finally, I spoke. "Do you remember the woman you tried to erase? The one you thought was weak, naive, and powerless?" Adam opened his mouth, but no words came out. "That woman?" I continued. "She's right here. And she's stronger than both of you combined." Megan's eyes widened. Adam's jaw tightened. I let them stew in their own guilt and realization. "I didn't come here to beg," I said. "I didn't come here to scream. I came here to remind you that every lie, every betrayal, every single attempt to steal from me failed." I watched them absorb it. The truth hit them harder than any lawyer's argument ever could. Their empire of deceit crumbled simply because I refused to be silent, refused to be passive. You'll see me moving on, succeeding and thriving, I said. And that's your punishment. Not money, not humiliation. Just knowing you lost to someone you underestimated. Adam tried to speak, but I held up a hand. Save it. I'm done listening. I'm done fearing. I'm done being betrayed. Goodbye. I walked out, feeling lighter than I had in years. The sun was setting over Dallas, golden light spilling across the streets. For the first time in a long time, I smiled freely. No anger, no bitterness, just clarity, freedom, and peace. Sitting in my car, I reflected on the journey. Life had thrown me betrayal, deceit, and unimaginable pain, but it also gave me strength, clarity, and justice. I had learned that revenge isn't about cruelty. It's about reclaiming your power and refusing to be defined by someone else's lies. Betrayal is painful, but true victory comes not from hurting others, it comes from rising, standing tall, and taking control of your own life. Never let someone else's greed or deceit define you. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Could you have stayed patient, collected evidence, and claimed your justice? Or would you have walked away? Comment below, I want to hear your story. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next powerful story of betrayal, karma, and ultimate revenge.